How are we looking? Do my first sort of video with this setup to test everything. And I just got this package. Why did I... What just happened? Did I just do it again? This was in here the whole time? Why did I put a recording mic in a bag? You didn't hear any of that. It was probably all muffled. What sucks is, oh my God, Jesus. You guys are gonna break your eardrums. What sucks is I wanna use this microphone because it's the best audio. And this room is all hard walls. So you're gonna get a lot of echo and like, is it reverb? I don't know. But you're gonna get a lot of that echo. And I've noticed that in my other videos, that I've done in this room as I've been building it. You get that kind of like muffled, echoey audio, which sucks. And I don't really want that. This is nice. I can clean this up very easily. So I have to do this all over again. God damn it. How are we looking? All right, this is pretty centered. I like this. Hi, hey everybody. All right, I am testing this. I have everything set up with this desk. I'm gonna put this down. I'm hoping you're not gonna get a lot of this, but I don't wanna hold this and I don't wanna put it on my hat or anything. Kind of loses the point of the desk. So I'm gonna put it over here. Hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. It looks like you can. Okay, so guys, this is my setup and we're in the beginning stages of it, but I wanted to test it out. I wanted to do like a little review and kind of, break it in, do the whole beta test, if you will. So, I want to see how this looks. I think it looks pretty good. I could see the red lines. This camera is kind of far. It's like 7 feet away from me right now, which is not that bad, but I can't see the screen too well, which is a little bit of a problem. But maybe that is good because maybe it'll force me to look at the lens more and not at the camera. So I'm talking to you, not looking off to the side. Anyway, but what I can see though is that I have a lot of the red lines. So I'm in focus and the exposure looks good. It's too far for me to tell, but I think the exposure looks pretty good. I have a lot baked into this camera, but I think it looks good. I have my key light right here, which I'll show you, which we got this going. Look at this. This is awesome. All right, so right here, I have my key light. So this is what I'm talking to, and this is what I'm saying. You're roughly 6 feet away. Then over here, I have my Aperture 120D with the mini dome softbox on it with like that honeycomb. I don't know what you call that, but it directs the light. I did originally try using this, which is the lantern softbox, and that's kind of like the big like bubble. The thing with that is it lights the whole room up, and it doesn't really allow you to have a lot of separation visually between you, the subject, and the background. The background gets too lit up, and you get lost in the background. So that was a good learning experience for me because I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like you do need to have separation of like contrast. You need to have dark versus well-exposed subject. So I'm trying to learn that. Now I have some fill lights, which I'll talk about in a second, but I think it looks pretty good. I think right now I am exposed well. That drops off a bit into the back without it being like a pitch black background. So we're gonna go with it for now. So yeah, I got like I said, the 120D. Over here, I have another one, which is the Amaran P60. That's like an LED with a softbox on it, and that's a fill, so it's just at a slightly less brightness than this one. Excuse me, and it's filling. So I don't know if they need to be adjusted, maybe a little more here, a little less there, etc. I don't know. But those are my two lights for now. Like I said in my other video, I have the windows, which is right here and right there, blocked off. That light is coming from a fill light, and that's just so I can control the lighting in here. Now I have natural light coming in through here. I can't control that unless I put like a curtain here, but I'm not going to do that. I figure that's just enough fill light to help, not to really kind of control the lighting. So there we go. All right, let's move on. Keep this moving. All right, so those are my lights. Cameras, like I said, I have my ZVE1 here, which is my camera A. This is my mirrorless with the zoom lens. I have a 16 to 35 2.8 Sony GM lens on there. I love this lens, and right now we're set to about 24 millimeters, and this is what's giving us this. So it's not too wide, it's not too zoomed, it's just kind of at the right focal length, I think. Okay, so that is you guys here talking head camera A. Right here is camera B, or 2, and this is my Osmo Pocket 3. I have that on this C-stand, which I'll show you. Right there, there is a C-stand that goes all the way up, and now we're looking at a Pocket 3. And that is on a Magic Arm. And I have that set to the total zoom. It's like 2.0 zoom, so that I can get a nice kind of top-down shot here. And then I have my Action 5, which is right here, which is great because I was just going to set this up as like a different angle, but now I'm realizing that I can just grab it and show you guys things, which is awesome. So like I can get it move around and just bring you with me, which is a totally different aspect of like this kind of setup. I haven't really seen people do that often, but it's pretty cool. I like it. So yeah, and then I have my DJI Mic 2, which is Bluetooth to the Action 5. And I'm just kind of having this off to the side a little bit, so it's picking up my audio without it being attached to me. So we'll worry about audio a little bit later in my career here. But I think for now it's okay. I can always attach it somewhere. But yeah, this is great because I will be always kind of talking to you. You can see what I'm doing up here, down here, and then I could always kind of come in here for like a close up, or tell you a secret or something I want to tell you, but I don't want to tell you. Fun. Okay, so I'm going to do a little review while we're here, which is cool because this is all exciting and fun stuff for me. So, all right. Okay, so I have a lens filter, and this is for the Action 5. And I've gone on record already kind of talking about filters for the Action 5. I think early on when we were all sort of learning how to, let me adjust that, learning how to use the Action 5, everybody was like, oh, let's try the filter. So I ended up getting a VND, a variable filter. And what is it? Variable something density? I'm forgetting it. Yeah, anyway, so I ended up getting a VND for this, and I noticed like Louise had gotten, and everybody had gotten originally, the 3 filters, like the different stop filters. I think it was like 8, 16, 32 for the stops, and that was with the intent of making these action cameras more cinematic, in that you would be able to create a little bit of a better or more realistic motion blur, by putting on the filter, which would allow the frame rate to drop down, or the shutter speed to drop down, and get it down more towards double your frame rate, and then get that kind of smooth motion blur. But I think we've all sort of evolved to realize that you might not need it. The point of these cameras are really for like the vlogging aspect, not so much the cinematic aspect. To each their own. I think some people still want to get that down and they want to improve the quality as best they can. Totally get it. Totally understand. But one of the hurdles I had originally with that was that it was 3 separate filters. They were NDs. So he had, I think it was a 3, a 4, and a 5 stop. So depending upon the intensity of the light, he would swap one for the other, and they just kind of slap on the front of this. The problem is for me is that you have to carry those around, and this camera is all about low friction. So I should just bring this over here. It's all about low friction. So I looked at that and said, all right, well, now I got to carry around these 3 NDs and then swap them. If I go into a darker room, maybe I'll take it off, or I'll put a lighter one on. So it seemed a little bit of a potential friction hurdle. And I was like, okay, well, do they make VNDs? So I can variably change it for this camera. And at the time, there was only one. I think there still only might be one, but I think it was small rig. And it was nice, so I went and got it. Problem is you actually have to take off the current lens and screw that one on. So it doesn't fit on the cap. You have to screw it on. I think I have some B-roll of that, so I will put that in here. So I used it for like a couple days and immediately realized the issues with it, which is that I would go to like a 3, a 4, or a 5 and then be walking, and then if I was like in the shadow of a building, it would get like super dark and I'd have to just adjust it down to 3. But it starts at 3. There is no 2 or 1, which would be the equivalent of, what is it, like a 2, a 4, and then getting to an 8. I think 8 is the 3 stop. So yeah, so there wouldn't be a 2 and a 4 or like a 1 and a 2 stop. So that would be the issue, is I'd have a gap between just needing a little bit of like sunglass effect, but not too much. And I'd have to unscrew it and put this back on. I'd have to take that lens off and put this lens back on to then record in that like darker shadowy area. Like if I was in this room, I couldn't use a V&D, which makes sense. So it had its own hurdles, because now I have to carry around both. I have to carry around the V&D, but I also have to carry around this as well, and then swap them as needed. So it wasn't kind of like a one-stop shop. You know, it was a yin and a yang. You know, you give up this, but you get that, or you get this, but you give up that. There was always something. So I was like, you know what? I don't need the V&Ds. I'm just going to put this in auto and let it choose itself. And even if it gets pretty jittery in terms of the shutter speed, yeah, then so be it, because that's the point of the, or that's not the point of the camera. The point of the camera is for vlogging, not so much the cinematic smoothness, at least for me. But I noticed that Louise also had gotten this, which is a mist filter. And I have a mist filter for that camera. I have a mist filter for this camera, but I don't have a mist filter for that camera. And that was kind of secondary for me. I was like, let me figure out exposure with NDs or VNDs, and then realized, you know, like with most of these, like the Peter McKinnon lenses, filters, etc., you can buy like a normal version of it or like a mist version of it. It's all a pain. So I never considered getting a mist filter for this camera, because I was more worried about a proper exposure. But once I returned that and decided that this camera would be what it is and the shutter speed will be what it is, depending upon the lighting and what this chooses, when I saw that Louise was using a mist filter, it just like dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? I could get a mist filter, because that's not going to affect exposure. And therefore, I can still allow this to be in auto and just get a nice kind of little kind of bloom on everything, especially now during the summer, as it's now towards the middle/end of June. So I'm like, you know what? Let me give it a shot. And then I saw what is it? That boy, is it your boy? That boy Miggs. He also got one. He got the quarter. He got the black mist. That's what this is, the black mist filter, and he's been using it. He likes it. And it was just ironic. I ordered this. I've had this for like 2 weeks, and I just been putting it aside because I wanted to wait to be here to do that. So why don't we take a look? What are we doing here? What are we doing? I don't want to cut my hands. Yeah, we're recording still there, we're recording still there, and we're recording still there. This is great. I could just throw garbage off screen, off frame. Deal with it later. I gotta be honest, guys, I'm pretty excited about this setup. This is pretty cool. It's gonna be a little bit weird. Can I just open this from the bottom? Yeah, I can just open it from the bottom. Come on. I don't want to ruin this. Why do they make these boxes impossible? What are we doing? What are we doing? There we go. There we go. Another cloth. Yeah. Let's get this fucking knife out of here. Let's see, how is this? About right there. Is this? Yeah, see this throws that off though. All right, I gotta work on the centering here. It's all right. We can figure that one out. But here is this. Ooh. Pretty straightforward. Nothing, there's really no wow factor here. I don't really know what else to tell you here. Look at that. Can I get like some reflect? There we go, look at that. That is cool. Is it getting it? I think it is. Yeah. Look at that. Can it read that? I think it can. Nice. This is great. All right, so I'm gonna leave this rolling. Is this screw on? No, it's not. All right. Yeah. So the other thing was this mist filter is not screw on, which I think I prefer. Originally, I didn't like that, but because of having to take it on and off. But this is more of like I'm leaving this lens on, which is just the stock protective lens, and then popping this over it. And I don't believe this has any sort of waterproof capability, but this one does. So I think you might get water between the two lenses, but like that's not. I don't plan on mist filtering under the ocean, right? So it should be fine. Yeah. I can't tell if this really did anything. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. Let's see. All right, guys. Let's see. Let me clear this off. Okay, so we're in a dark room. Obviously, this is supposed to bloom highlights. I don't have a lot of highlights in here. I just have some blown out lights. But we're going to test it in here while we're here. So you can see sort of the crispiness around the edges of my key light here. And if I throw this on here, oh, look at that already. All right. You can see that. It just softens it off a bit. Right? It's just a nice kind of soft edge. I think with me too, I get a little bit like creamier. That's a weird way to say it, but I don't know. I get like a little bit of a soft creaminess. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I feel like I have a little bit of like a sharper contrast here, and then if we throw this on, yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, this kind of softens a bit. So anyway, this is it. Where are we? Right there. I love it because it doesn't take up any additional room or like footprint on the camera. It's still fully protected from this edge and this edge here, so I don't have to worry about like banging it. So I'm gonna fool around with that, guys. We're gonna see how this goes. But yeah, I like the idea of now having a mist filter for the Action 5. I think that might give a nice kind of summery bloom. Even if I just use it during the summer, I think it'll help with that look. And then I could always take it off if I want to get like harsher tones, like richer blacks for the fall and like Halloween, etc. I think that's a great added aspect to it without having to screw with the auto settings. The auto settings will auto set. So I'm going to play around with it and we're going to test it out. Okay, this has been a long video for a mist filter, but let me know what you guys think of this. Please, any improvements at all? If you're like, hey, I think you should do this. Can you move this around? Framing, lighting, audio, anything at all, please. This is I'm here to learn with you. So anything that you suggest, I will take serious. All right, guys. See you next time.